Good afternoon, Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com. It's time for the Hurricane and Hurricane HD video blog for Monday, July 9th, 2012. Hope you're doing well, surviving this massive heat wave that has certainly affected millions of people. A really strong heat wave event. Fortunately, it looks like that's going to break in the next few days for a good deal of the southeast and deep south, and heavy rain is coming, so be ready for that. Just a quick word of advice. Definitely want to use weather.gov. Just punch in your zip code there and you'll get all the local information you need without any advertisements or commercialization. Hey, you paid for it with your tax dollars, you might as well use it. Weather.gov, put in your zip code there, and then you'll find out everything you need to know right there on the return page from the National Weather Service. And there is a lot of heavy rain coming for portions of the east and southeast, so be aware of that. Alright, one thing also to be aware of is the sea surface temperature anomalies, the departures from normal. We see the El Nino trying to develop here in the eastern Pacific. However, in recent days, there has been a little bit of a cooling right here in this region, as strong high pressure to the north up here has been fairly dominant, kind of resurging those trade winds and causing the water to be stirred up a little bit more. And it's also been causing these two hurricanes that we have out here in the eastern Pacific, Daniel about here and Amelia about here, those to move west and generally west-northwest. You don't have that situation unless you have high pressure to the north steering them around the bottom of that high. And coincidentally, that same area of high pressure might be putting just a little bit more trade wind activity out here across the eastern Pacific, driving that conveyor belt a little bit more, cooling off the El Nino regions just a little bit. And that's kind of interesting because the longer it takes this El Nino to affect the atmosphere, the more active the Atlantic hurricane season could be, especially since we're about a month away from really starting to have to watch areas off of Africa, for example, and to see what happens as we approach the peak. Speaking of the Atlantic, most regions are just a little bit above or below normal. There's no real one area that jumps out as being significantly above normal. Notice that the Gulf of Mexico has returned to just above normal sea surface temperature-wise, especially up here in the northeast corner with the departure of Debbie right off the east coast. Fairly warm anomalies. Doesn't matter unless there's a hurricane coming. I guess it does matter if you're going swimming, heading to the beach, if you like warm water instead of sort of chilly water, then this summer is the summer for you, because pretty strong anomalies off the northeast coast especially. But out here in the deep tropics, really just about normal if you averaged everything up, maybe slightly above, but nothing that jumps out as being alarming by any means. What did it look like at the last El Nino year? That was 2009, so exactly 3 years ago. You see the difference here. The Pacific was warm all the way out to past Hawaii here, way on out there, almost to the date line, which is way out at 180 degrees longitude. Very warm Pacific. Most of the rest of the subtropical Pacific was above normal. And if I go back, you can see the stark contrast. Here we are today, 2012, very cold subtropical Pacific with just a very minor warm area here in the eastern Pacific. 3 years ago, the whole Pacific was really heating up, and that was a pretty significant El Nino event that kept the 2009 hurricane season basically on the inactive side. I just don't see that happening for this year because of very big differences in how the pattern is set up. Probably looking at a 12 to 14 total named storm year, and we've already had 4, so we probably have about 10 more to go, or about an average season, 10 named storms in an average season, at least the 100-year average. So we have almost an entire hurricane season ahead of us, more than likely in August, September, and October. Another look at the El Nino situation. This is the subsurface map showing temperature anomalies in the Pacific. And think of this as a CAT scan of the Pacific Ocean. The eastern Pacific Ocean is over here, the western Pacific Ocean is on the left side, If it's blue, it's below normal. If it's red, it's above normal. Makes good sense, right? So this is back in March, and you can see that a good eastern two-thirds of the Pacific was below normal, with this above normal pool here down in the subsurface. And what we're looking at, the top of the ocean is right here, and then this is about 300 meters deep at the bottom, 300 to 400 meters deep. So then as we move through April, you see this little area here of cold water, relatively speaking, shrinking. This also shrinks a little bit. And then we go just about to absolute neutral here by May. And then in June, the first signs of this weak El Nino event coming on. You don't have, though, this enormous area of subsurface warm water like we did even back in March. See the difference here between this and this? Just not enough staying power, if you will, to drive a significant El Nino event out here. So that's why I think it's going to be kind of a weak El Nino, maybe peaking in November, December, after the hurricane season is over. Therefore, we should probably have a fairly active August and September, a normal August and September, probably not very much above normal, I wouldn't think, not much to make me lead in that direction, but the El Nino just not coming on as strong as ones in the past have. So hopefully all that made a little bit of sense for you. Now, looking at current conditions in the tropics, the Atlantic, of course, very, very quiet. All of this right here shows me a very stable, dry environment. It's still July. In fact, this is, I'm going to show you on a slide in just a minute. We are at a very, very slow part of the hurricane season climatologically, where we don't expect anything out here anywhere this time of year. It's really pretty rare to have something during this period of the season. And that period is right here. You see that? You can see that obvious little low point right there. I'll zoom in for you just to point it out, that we are probably right where we need to be climatologically speaking. See that? There's definitely a little valley there right around July 10th, and we're, for all intents and purposes, there. Then, after the mid part of the month, things do start to pick up. So I suspect that before July is over, we will have at least something to talk about coming probably off of Africa, moving westward, because that is typically what we look for right there at the tail end of July, a little bit of an uptick in activity. So following climatology, I think the next week or so, definitely going to be quiet. Then we'll start looking for signs in the global models that things may get to be more active at the end of July into the first part of August. Looking in the eastern Pacific, Hurricane Daniel here, trying to get into that colder, more stable air environment because of the Pacific cold water, and it'll head west and then kind of dip south of west as a low-level remnant. So you folks out here in Hawaii, no worries from Daniel. It might bring an increase in moisture and a change in the trade winds, but nothing beyond that. Farther to the east, Hurricane Amelia, now up to 100 miles per hour, a very stout Category 2. It'll move more west-northwest and eventually hit this colder water up here. How do I know that that water is cold? Just by looking at this satellite picture. All of these really low clouds right here, this low cloud deck that extends all the way out here across the Pacific, you can easily see that. That is an indication of a very stable air mass because of the colder sea surface temperatures. You don't have that much energy in the water. There's not much water vapor being evaporated into the atmosphere because the water temperatures are colder. Whereas here in the deep tropics, near the equator and just north of it, yes, the atmosphere is much more unstable because the water below is letting off a lot of evaporation, a lot of energy, a lot of what we call latent heat. And it's really interesting, at least from a meteorological perspective, to see these tropical cyclones head into an area of colder water because they just kind of go away. You know what I mean? The mechanism, the process that keeps them going just isn't there anymore. So they're not destroyed by wind shear coming along from one direction and just blasting the tops off of these things and shredding them to bits. They don't run over land where they get torn up by friction and the dry air of the land mass, obviously removing that heat content. They just kind of go away because the process itself goes away, and that's what's going to happen with Daniel. Much like if you have a pot of boiling water and it's just rolling around with boiling bubbles and really frothy, and you turn the stove off, it gradually cools down and it stops boiling, and you can eventually put your hand in it and it reaches room temperature. Same kind of thing with these tropical cyclones. When they move over colder water, they just go away. And that's what should happen with Daniel. It'll fizzle out and move just south, well, pretty good clip south of the Hawaiian Islands, and not be a major concern there. Maybe just a few passing showers. Amelia also of no concern to land areas, especially you folks along the Baja and mainland Mexico. Amelia headed out because of a nice area of high pressure to the north that is steering these tropical cyclones to the west. All is good and well in the tropics when everything's working as it should and nothing affects land. Alright, well there you go. You're up to date for the week ahead. I'll be back tomorrow, though, as we will every day, providing these video blogs for Hurricane and Hurricane HD. Again, my name is Mark Sudduth. My website, hurricanetrack.com. Check it out sometime if you haven't already, and I'll have another video blog for you tomorrow.